Eric Sheetsaber. We're going to be talking through the Valspar Championship this week. And, look, it's not the star-studded field we had last week, which was, by the way, whether you like, I guess if you like golf. But even if you didn't do well betting, it'd be hard to imagine not having at least a kind of a fun time sweating. There was a lot of stuff going on that Sunday, and it was pretty fun to watch. Everybody had, to have four guys have a shot on the last hole. It just was cool. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to this week as well, leading into the Masters in a few weeks. So, Sheets, anything you want to mention overall before we get into the?
Yeah, I kind of want to win one of these slates one of these days. But the good thing is that I'm also, even though I'm keeping up my streak of consecutive losing classic slates, I'm also keeping up my streak of not coming in like ninth anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm in contention, I'm winning at least.
Right.
So I'm pretty good about not being in contention, I guess. So I got
We're
that.
on the opposite pages. I'm good at being in contention, and I can't seem to close one out.
So I got that going for me, I guess. And so again, I'm going to continue the same process. I'm going to try one little tweak this week. I'm going to do a little more min uniques in my 150 builds. I like to think that my model, the projections are good, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't really been performing. So I'll spread out just a little bit more maybe this week than otherwise. Maybe, and that's something you could do with the min uniques thing without going completely ballistic and bananas about your other stuff. So I have a couple of good plays, a couple of good ideas, and we'll kind of try to get into it.
Yep, let's do it. Starting off at the top, I guess I almost started right with the game. Starting off at the top, who do you like in this 10K plus range?
Yeah, I think Xander is a really, really good play. I think he's clearly better than the rest right now. And I have a decent amount of him in the actually the most of him of anybody, I think, in the 150 max. I'm currently not playing him in the big buy-in just because, again, this is kind of my approach right now. But he certainly looks perfectly reasonable and perfectly good. I have him at about 30% ownership, which might be low. Might be a little higher at the end of the day. But listen, he was in contention and winning or whatever, like for 4 straight days. I mean, pretty much. I mean, he played great. And Scheffler's not here, so he's got a chance to win, I guess. So yeah, he looks pretty good. Spieth would be my next, which is very, very odd. I should really actually pay attention to this, because whenever this used to be the case, like last year, whenever a guy who's just always like never shows up for me just starts showing up, usually what happens is he wins like the next week. So whenever Spieth is, I don't know when the Masters is or whatever, but whoever next week is, Spieth might win. Maybe he misses the cut this week and then wins. But that's happened before. So I ought to pay attention to that. And Thomas looks fine. Weirdly, I was expecting to like Burns more than all these guys, but I'm rating him below all three of them. So I like Xander top, then Spieth, then Thomas, then Burns, but I am getting I'm getting a bunch of shuffle.
Yeah, I have it actually like gulp. I have it Burns, Thomas, Schauffele, Spieth. I don't really have like a real Burns was close here last year and nearly won it. Xander, I think, is a good fit, but I also do think that there is. I mean, it's got to be some hangover, right? Like, it's getting to the point where he has such a hard time winning, and he's so consistently there. I mean, there were times Data Golf had him at like 75% to win, 80% to win, like this last tournament, and I just feel like I've seen that so many times with him. And I'm wondering if it has any carryover effect. And Justin Thomas, I thought he was going to be lower owned after a really bad week.
Oh, they love playing him. They love playing him.
People love playing him, even though he's been so bad, and then he was so good again to start the year. We thought he was going to. Almost everybody I listened to, almost every podcast I listened to, picked him to win last week. And like literally almost every single one. But I happen to like him a little bit here. Again, Burns also. These guys all have like. I know it sounds weird to say, but like outside of Xander, like Burns, Thomas, and Spieth can all get a little wild. So they're by no means locks here. And because of the ownership, maybe it's worth it taking a dip down into the 9K range and finding things we like there, because these guys are going to be the most popular because it's very easy to get them in. And I personally would like to try to do some different things. So Yes, I will have exposure to all of them. I will probably be underweight on all of the 10K plus as of right now. And by the way, it's not that I don't like Xander. It's just really hard when you start seeing those 35, 40%, whatever it is, projected ownerships. And you have it at 30, but I think it could end up at 40. That just seems like hard to do unless the guy's name is Scotty Scheffler. All right.
But didn't they tell you that no one has won the tournament two years in a row?
Yeah, no one wins the tournament 2 years in a row, right? Oh my God. And Wyndham Clark can't be in play last week because Wyndham Clark he was second last week.
Nobody's ever come run 1-2 together.
Yeah, so you could have literally run back the same lineups and just had that one thing, and you probably win all the money last week.
Exactly.
All right, so 9K range sheets.
Yeah, so I'm ranking now the guys based on like my leverage. In other words, like relative to ownership, where I have these guys, and specifically in 150s, and the 9K range is the one that's kind of getting ignored for me. I
love this. We work on very different paths here.
Yeah, maybe. The only one I have I'm kind of over the field on is Cameron Young. Everybody else I'm sort of under on, and again, not because they're bad plays or anything like that, just the fact that I'm under on them. Finau 9,300. He's another guy that I have a decent amount of, I suppose. Playing Harman feels kind of tough at that price, but he looks okay. So for me, Finau and Young would be my two favorites of the 9Ks.
Yeah, I liked Harman's response to the people complaining about how much he waggled the club.
What
he said, so I'm hitting whatever however many shots per week. I can't remember the number it was. And he's like, so for each shot I'm doing 8 waggles. That's about $6,400 a shot, as I'm going to make over $1 million this week. So it really causes me not to give a shit about what anybody thinks about how many times I waggle.
Yeah.
Why not? Not usually the guy I actually do like. I like Harman and Young a lot this week. I always say this with Young and because sometimes Young and Burns are quite a ways away, and I just think that they're close enough as golfers to where we should sort of treat them as a similar type of play. And Burns has had a few more wins, but Young has had some major, a lot of top fives, a lot of number twos. Harman. So I actually like Young, I think, the best in this range. I like Harman next. I am okay with going down to Min-Woo Lee and Nick Taylor too. I don't love the paying this much for Taylor, but I'm probably a little bit more into the Min-Woo Lee this week. I'm ready for him to start actually doing something for my lineups. And then I have interest in Finau and him, and maybe it's because I am more open to the idea of having lower ownership on the 10Ks that I got a little bit more in this 9 and 8K range than I thought I was going to. But yeah, Min-Woo, Young, and Harman are my 3 favorites there.
All right, so as far as the 8K goes, 8K range, this is where I'm getting the majority of my leverage. I have 3 guys that I have at least double the field on it. And I'm feeling like you when you were going through that funk in the NBA. I feel like I'm going to start my speech by saying, don't listen to me, but you know what I mean? So don't listen to me, but the 3 guys I have like way over the field are Adam Hadwin, Doug Gim, and Keegan Bradley. At least double the field on all of them. And that's just the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no. So I too have Gim as look. The guy's I don't know. He's gonna have to stop top 20 if he wants me to stop playing him.
Something like that, right?
He's just every week. I just feels like you got to play him. He was not 6,800 like he was last week, but I still like him. Okay, so in this range, I like the Gim. I like the McNeely as my second favorite play. He's been just awesome and really good for me. I've been playing him and it's just consistently been good. He looks like he's on his game. I want to take him when he's hot. And McNeely would be I have over Hadwin, but I did have some interest in Hadwin. And I'm not sure what to do with the Keegans and Aaron. The fact that you like Keegan makes me like him a little more, but I had Keegan, Aaron Ride, Zayden Hoot, Mitchell. I just sort of had like a mild interest in all of them. And it's sort of like a field, and it's a little different than the way I normally talk. But if I was scripting out, I would just sort of accept what they gave me in the 8K range outside of Gim McNeely, because I'm okay with all the other plays. Just none of them really stand out as being awesome to me. If there was one maybe I was forced to commit to beyond the two that I named, the Gim McNeely, it probably would be the Zayden Hood. So that's where I'm at. All right. Down we have, let's do 75 days. Or no, we can do the whole 7K range if you want to.
Yep. So same thing. Don't listen to me, but the two guys again, I'm overweight on, like, pretty heavily, and I'll talk about one of them specifically. So it took me like 7 different like projection updates and tweaking and begging to not have like too much of this guy. No matter what I did, I ended up with too much of him, and that's for some reason Lucas Glover at 7,300. I don't know. And the other guy that I'm getting a good amount of, and relative to the field as well, would be Akshay Bhatia. So those would be my two guys in this range that I like the most: Bhatia and Lucas Glover.
Yeah, I've got a clear number one in this range. It's Taylor Moore. He won this tournament last year. That's not the only reason.
You can't win this twice in a row. You should know.
Yeah, you're not allowed. Although, what's his name? Corey Connors also won the last 2. His only wins have come in that one place in Texas. Taylor Moore, I understand that it's not been like the best time for him, but even still with that, like, it's not like he's missing terribly. I've been playing him a little bit because he's been super cheap. So I'm into the Taylor Moore. I'm going to go back to a guy who I didn't necessarily plan to. And I think that Billy Horschel, I'm just going to take another shot. I thought he looked better than just couldn't quite keep it together. And had a few, hit the water ball. I don't know, just didn't quite get there before the cut line. So he was another one for me. And then Adam Schenk also, I mean, what did he finish here last year? I think he was second. I'll take a shot on that. And I don't mind your Bhatia call either. But Schenk and Moore. I like the Glover thing too. Schenk, Moore, Glover, Horschel for me.
Okay. Under 7K, I got a couple actually.
Nice.
I got a couple that I'm 10% or more on. Starting with Grayson Sigg, and then one of your guys, Carson Young, and then some Kevin Yu. I think the one that people will play is maybe, boy, it doesn't look that way. So I see only 3% ownership. I thought people might play Adam Svensson because they've heard of him, whatever.
He's just been like the worst player in like the last 3 tournaments.
Maybe. So he's like 3%. So I guess throw him in the mix too. So I would say Adam Svensson, Kevin Yu, Carson Young, and Grayson Sigg would be my gambles from the 6K.
Yeah, as you know, I always do. I've got a bunch of guys who I'm going to be mixing in, but there's some that I have actual priority plays on. I love Joel Dahman. I think that he's I think that this is the best. We're going to see the best golf we've ever seen from him. I don't expect him to become Wyndham Clark, but I'm telling you, these guys who they start doing the sports psychology thing, and you hear all this stuff, and I know it sounds like narrative, whatever. Look at Wyndham Clark has gone from a middle of the road PGA Tour pro to being one of the top 5 players, probably at least top 5 on the PGA Tour without a question. In this time because of this, Joel Dahman finding himself last week. I just feel like this guy's got incredible talent, and I want to bet on it. So I'm going to be high on the Dahman. Also, my normal guy, as you mentioned, Carson Young. I love Carson Young. Another one, I know he had a bad week for the first time like this season, it feels like, but Andrew Novak has been unbelievable this year. I don't mind getting some exposure there. Andrew Novak, I mean, he's got two seconds already. And in fields very similar to this. I feel like we could have seen Novak priced at like 9K and it wouldn't have surprised me. So that was another one for me. Matthew Neesmith, who also looked pretty good last week at only 6,500. I think he's another one. I'm looking through my list and seeing what else I liked here. Bizarrely, Matt Wallace is on my list. I don't have him quite as high as the other guys. But the one name that also stood out, though, well, I guess the 2 other ones were Bramlett and Valimaki. I just think that at 6,100, that again, Valimaki has been competitive. Obviously had the runner-up finish a couple weeks ago. Bramlett at 6,100 has the talent, and I think they're just interesting enough to play a little bit. And again, you mentioned Michael Kim. Maybe I go back to Johnny Vegas, but I just have too many other guys that I like a little bit in the 6K range that I don't think I'm going to end up getting to Johnny Davis, which would be kind of a shame because at some point that guy will turn it around. Johnny Vegas. I keep saying Johnny Davis. Johnny Vegas.
Johnny Davis is not going to turn it.
Johnny Davis is dead to me.
Yes,
I missed the cash cut line last night at the 555 by like 3 points or something, even with him in my lineup. And I'm just like, oh God, put a game together, bro. Like I could have actually done something in that tournament.
I got a couple of punts under 6K that I have like a small percentage of. I'll just read them off. Tyler Duncan at 5,800, and then Zach Blair at 5,600, and then a little bit a lineup or two of Justin Lauer, and a lineup or two of Robbie Shelton.
Yeah, Lauer's a good cut-making bet, I think, this week for what it's worth, too. I'll ride the Parker Cootie train a little bit. You know what I mean? He's the one that sort of stood out a little bit to me. I also think Justin Suh, not in necessarily his best form. And I agree with the Tyler Duncan. So those were the main ones for me. But I wanted to just take a look at and throw a few other guys out there who maybe we can, I've played a little bit lately and maybe we could think about. Jorge Campillo. I don't know if I can touch Kevin Streelman again because he looks like the worst golfer in the world right now. And I just, it's amazing how guys just go from being like solidly in the top 30 or 40 or whatever to just being like completely off the face of the earth, like in no time. But he was one that, he was one I was not going to play. The Deschart thing, I don't know how to pronounce his whole name, Adrian Dumont Deschart. He's another one that I have a buddy who really likes him. I don't know why.
Which guy is this now? What price?
He's 5,400. Adrian Dumont
Deschart. Okay.
Deschart, yeah. Which sounds like sort of like a little kid making a joke to another little kid or something. So those were the ones for me. There was one more who somebody told me about that for some reason I'm losing right now. But I know I named a bunch of guys in the lower range, but I really do like the idea of getting overweight these guys, and especially in these weaker fields. And even in a stronger field like last week, you had guys in the 5Ks in the top 10. And I think that you want to try to, especially for max entry, try to get overweight some of those guys you feel like have that upside. Unfortunately, unlike last week, I don't love the top of the board as much. Whereas last week I was very into playing, Scotty and unfortunately Hovland and all those guys. All right. So we are going to play the game sheets.
All right.
I wish I had my notes from last week because we had some things.
One of us took them.
Well, yeah, we got the winner, but there was
As a matter of fact, I think we picked Scheffler and Wyndham Clark.
I think I had Justin Thomas to miss the cut.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so who's winning this tournament?
Maybe I'll just throw it in because I said he's going to win next week. I'll pick him to win this week, and I'll go Jordan Spieth.
All right, you're going to force me to get the Jordan Spieth. I am going to say, I can't believe I really feel so stupid. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to say this is not. I don't know why I can't come up with this one. I'm going to say that it's Sam Burns, even though Justin Thomas is who I'm supposed to say, I think. All right. Now we go to, and for what it's worth, by the way, Spieth did finish, third here last year, whatever. So nice. That's, something. All right. Under 10K to top 5.
Top 5 is tough. I mean, I was going to do some funny business here, but top 5 is just very difficult. I was going to go into some of my 8K nonsense, but I'll save them. So I'll just go with Cam Young.
With who?
With Cam Young.
That's who I was going to pick as well. So I really like that. And because of that, I am going to say that the guy I didn't mention, well, I'm actually going to say Brian Harmon.
Okay.
It's a pretty chalky answer.
The waggle narrative. Okay.
Yeah. At some point, I might have to start playing a little more of this Tony Finau.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So next up, under 9K to top 10.
I think we're gonna be on one of these guys, so I'll let you take him if I can't do this. So, listen, I've blown it with Keegan Bradley too many times, so I'm not going to go with him. I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin.
Oh, okay. You've actually, by the way, though, you say you've blown it, but like that's like what kept you winning last year was the Keegan.
I guess so. It was like Keegan Bradley 21st and stuff like that. I guess.
Yeah. He was like in the top 10 of so many tournaments last year.
Okay. All right.
I'm with so I had to decide, but because I want to be like do the trendier thing and not do the obvious Doug Gim, but I'm gonna say Maverick McNeely.
Look at that. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Back-to-back top 10s for him, maybe. All right. Under 8K to top 20. This is the guy I should have said for the last one.
I'm gonna go with boy. I have to say, remember all those times we said, what's the name? Hideki was just like it's terrible. How is he 8,500? Just his models, whatever it is. I just want to say, I'll just make one comment. That Daniel Berger is 7,200.
Yeah, I blipped on saying that. That's who the name was before for me. You're right.
I mean, I'm just saying that he's 7,200. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just stating a fact. But I'm not gonna. I'll go with one of the guys that look good. I'll go with Glover. I'll go with Boccia, I guess.
All right. I'm gonna go with Taylor Moore, who I also almost picked to top 5 this. So. I almost used him for my 9K thing. For what it's worth, and I know that people will say, Berger missed the last 2 cuts. Just FYI, I believe both were on the number, and I just wanted to throw that out there. And he had a terrible 18th or 17th on. I think it was both of them, where he double or tripled at his way out of a tournament. He's not back to being himself, but I do like the idea of playing some Berger. I want to just throw that out there. I think that you want to get ahead on this guy at this price tag. He's a really, really exceptional golfer. If he can find his way back. I don't like him as a human being, but anyway, it is what it is. All right, under 6 or somewhere in the 6Ks. I think we should do 6 and 5Ks to make the cut.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do the 6Ks first.
Who did I say? You go first.
Dahmen.
You go Dahmen. All right. I'll go with Carson Young.
Thank you, because I don't want to not play Carson Young, and I like that. All right. Could be another one of the young weeks. I almost had the young woo sheets. My young woo lineup a few weeks ago came in 16th or 15th in the signature hole, but it was in the top 5 with a few holes to go and just had a couple of bad holes. But it was would have been fun to get the. I love when the names line up.
I'll go first under 5K. I'll go with the. Oh my God, what happened? This guy's back playing. Oh my God, I thought Aaron Wise was just. Remember, he had the mental health issue.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Not yet, but one of these days.
It's not yet, but it's really just our own not yet. We have no idea.
What do I know, right?
I'll probably take a look at.
I got to play a lineup with him.
Did he miss the cut at the Puerto Rico?
He did.
Okay.
I got to play a lineup with him. But under 6K, I'll go with the guy I said, Tyler Duncan.
And I am going to go with Parker Cootie. All right.
And over 9K to miss the cut?
Oh, over 9K to miss the cut. That fun game. Just because a guy I really like, but I feel annoyed that everybody's on him. Now I feel like he was my thing, and now everybody likes him. Nick Taylor.
Yeah, and I'll go with the other one at the bottom of the range. I'll go with the Minwoo Lee.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys. Well, good luck to everybody this week. I will post my early builds, my ownership, any bets I have actually too. I might do some of that pick six betting for the golf.
I don't know. I wonder if I can do live sweat tonight. I'll have to see. If I decide to do it, I'll do. I'll let everybody know. Good time. I have to see how tired I am. But that's about all I have.
Sounds good. All right, man. Thanks a lot.